To the best of my knowledge, the concerns raised by regular cab drivers on the competitive element of Uber are not justified, and this is not something that is unique to the Kenyan transport sector. We've seen strikes actually taking place in France. We've seen in Spain, Italy as well, and as even as far as New York. Uh, Uber cabs are actually being frustrated in terms of legislation being brought up to try and limit the popularity that the service has gained. Competitive edge as regards pricing is not really a concern, because what Uber in effect is a network, something like Facebook. To say that they have a competitive edge is like saying Facebook is stealing from the post office because nobody sends snail mail anymore. They'd rather chat on Facebook platform. It's the same thing with Uber. Uh, the uniqueness of the business is that they do not actually own any cars. Until recently, they did not have offices within the regions where they operate. Only that, given the need for centers where they can coordinate some of the operations from, is why they're actually setting up physical offices. The worry that the cab drivers, the regular cab drivers, have is that whereas previously clients have been forced to go to where the cabs are, Uber has now made it such that cabs actually come to where you are. And what it brings about is efficiency, which is what, again, the cab drivers are afraid of, because they are not as efficient as Uber. Their pricing is not as fair as Uber's, and therefore it is why they are protesting the popularity that the service is gaining. Well, Uber is broadly categorized as a disruptive technology. Uh, at the very basic definition, disruptive technology is just efficiency around technology that does not follow the conventional progression that we know of. Uber had not picked up as much in Nairobi up until recently, and this can be evidenced by the fact that not many people are using the regular cabs as they would, and this is all to do with the pricing and efficiency, as I had earlier mentioned. Uh, the conventional Nairobi cabs force you to have to go to where they are based, not them coming to you, as is the case with Uber. Again, a lot of hidden costs are incurred by clients when you use the regular cabs. For one, because they're at a parking bay, they have to pay fees for being parked there. They also factor in fuel, and then they also factor in their own profits. You see, Uber is you're charged based on the mileage, or rather the kilometers you cover. So it is not a standard cost that if, say, you're going from town to Westlands, you have to pay a flat rate of about 600, which is what regular cabs charge. For Uber, it's about 300 with a waiting fee in case you keep the cab driver waiting. But the rampant, as you have stated, is simply because it is only now becoming an alternative that a lot more people are opting for, as opposed to using the regular cab guys. As there have been reports about the cab drivers being attacked, and while the Africa office for Uber is labeling the allegations as speculative, I have personally talked to a driver who says he was in fact assaulted. The tires of his vehicles were deflated, and so in such a scenario, and given that some of these allegations are surfacing on social media, you can see that there's planned approaches to frustrating Uber and sort of trying to push the drivers on the network out of market. For instance, somebody has suggested that when you hail a cab, you get in and pour old oil on the seats. So if I were an Uber driver, for one, I would insist that any luggage that passengers come with have to go in the boot of the vehicle, because that is their location for luggage anyways. Another thing is always make it would be recommended, and the company has itself instructed drivers to ensure that they pick their clients from public places, an open place where in the event that somebody tries to sort of attack you, you have the assistance of the general public. Another thing, and some of the drivers I have managed to speak to actually doing this, when the cab is hailed, the network alerts the nearest driver. So what the driver does is they call the client in advance of the pickup, just so the details of the actual pickup point are nailed down, so that there's zero delays, because again they become prone to attacks when there's delays in when they're picking clients. Another thing, although this is an issue of cooperation from bodies that are mandated with the guaranteeing security, for instance police, if a Uber partner driver is attacked, they ideally should report to the police. However, one of them that I spoke to said that they reported the matter, but then they were told that it was them who was harassing the other drivers. So what the company now needs to do is to actually talk to the police themselves and have them treat any such reports with the seriousness that they deserve.